Hey, everybody, social media family, being any subscribers as well as any visitors to that being of my own social media channel and or likewise chat room or comment section. How you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right, or if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine likewise as well are all the same. Well, whatever I haven't said. And please do forgive me or pardon me if I myself can or could possibly at some or such a given moment in time during the course of this one particular present social media broadcast or video or whatever one wants to make of it go about butchering the English language as we have it here for our own American dialect. But then, nevertheless, I had never had claimed, I say, and I'll say for that being a record, I have never had claimed to have become or be an English major, neither or nor an English professor. Let me make that perfectly clear. So, therefore, I will hope that you all could possibly get the general idea of what that being of my person, I'm trying to think of it with that being of my intentions to say, regardless, being because I myself, being my same person, had not established this one particular social media channel. Like say how you say to be misunderstood. And hopefully no kind sort of type of a male or female internet troll for that matter of an obnoxious negative character would attempt to think to put forth the efforts to trash shit anytime too soon up again. Because that would defeat the reason or purpose for that being of my person having gone about establishing it in the first place as an account holder with this one major social media network giant, or as this particular one been the present, to be compared onto its business competitors or rival counterparts, whereas this one is called by its name of YouTube, aka YouTube, or some would call it that. I'm just saying. I'm just, reiterating or repeating what some have said and calling it by that name. You know, no racist pun intended or had not been meant. Okay. But then, if I could possibly say something during the course of a video, so I would appreciate it if you were to bring it to my attentions like ASAP, and that is as soon as possible. But then, with the exception being uh, only if you are a person being of whom still possess at least, or rather, correction, on average, half your marbles. Otherwise, you need not bother to respond or reply to any of my videos. Okay? Because you really have nothing to say to me. And being because if I suspect you to be someone or such a one or somebody else altogether different than a person, the average person who could possibly still possess half one's marbles, then I would say to you from there, talk to the hand because I'm not listening. You know, I mean, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I mean, a person could go about, you know, exercising one's tongue skills. Try to think of it. with that of a mind's intentions to give, you know, likewise a crank caller, then let it be said in the same I thought this was well an internet troll, the benefit of the doubt, but with all things considered, you know, you would just be wasting your time trying to think to hold that being a meaningful dialogue with someone who is stuck on stupid, bent upon coming off like, you know, someone either from the Ice Age, as a Stone Age caveman character, or from the pre-civil rights movement era, for that matter. And I'm not going to do it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would entertain the thought of trying to put up with one's foolishness or nonsense, for quite an impressive amount of time, believe it or not. But after a while, I would have to tune a person of interest or characters that being out, like a certain proverbial neighbor from damn hell who could be moonlighting or something such himself. I mean, because life is too short to possibly permit somebody else to take you captive or hostage to one's rather twisted, warped, wicked mindset. You know, like this one neighbor of mine. Yes. But then this is not the content of this one particular social media broadcast video compared onto how I myself am wishing to speak upon some such other. I don't really do. Yeah. I mean, what's a better analogy, cliche, or corn phrase to describe what I'm talking about? And do we go in reference to a fool? But then, for some reason, I cannot think of it as the president one time. But I think you all have got the general idea of what I'm trying to say. Then this is not meant to be the content of speaking upon a proverbial neighbor from damn hell. A pub nuisance, a problem neighbor, one of the damn dozen pub nuisance problem neighbors. Moonlight, possibly as that being, you know, excuse me, an internet troll or crank caller or stalker. Rather, this is about, you know, the content at hand is involving, regarding, or making reference to that being a verbal argument in which it got transferred into a physical altercation, with someone or such a one. It's about two young, underage male minors representing the same sex, or two adolescents or teenagers, high school boys, one black, one white, haven't gotten into it from a verbal argument that took place, or as it happened, to it becoming transformed into a physical altercation of a fist fight. And whereas when the lousy, dirty cops, you know, closet-klan and closet neo-Nazis or racist rednecks to be possibly considered for that of some such a given moment in time, you know. Yeah. Oh, that makes about the second or third time, huh? You all that I'm not like a neighbor from hell that's fumigate my place with some knockout gas. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't put it past him, knowing how he is. You know, not to mean to go back to him. I mean, like I said, this is not to be of a content or a social media broadcast or video that is to dwell on this male character of a psychopath, sociopath, sadomasochist, sadist, cowardly bully, and or terrorist wannabe. Proverbial neighbor from hell, being the likes of the dime a dozen public nuisances a problem neighbors. God forbid, you know. But this is making reference to some or such other, as I was saying in our stating, for that being of the record, you know. So bear with me while I were to, you know, go on with that the dialogue at hand or in due regard in reference to matters as that being, you know, for that some such given on time. Then I did ask you all that being of the question of how you all are doing, did I not? Well, if I didn't, so I ask the person now. But then if I did, then there's no harm in repeating that question. No, there's nothing wrong with doing just that. You know. Then nevertheless, I hope that you all are doing at least okay. If not, better yet to be said, to be feeling all right. Or if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You know, you and yours, family and friends, and hopefully me and mine, likewise as well. Oh, sorry about that little accident. Yes. And now that I have pretty much so have gotten the preliminary out the way, being the basic introduction. I have to fix my clock. See my digital clock. You know. Then let me go on with that being of the verbal exercise, the dialogue in question for that some or such a given moment in time. And whereas I was watching this much earlier news broadcast, right, that is the same of a said given moment in time, I try not to watch it too early because I don't want to start my day off the wrong way. And likewise, I try not to watch it too late because I myself personally don't want to have any more nightmares than what I could possibly already have. That is something such a given moment in time. But anyway, I had come across this one news story. It's always good to tune into the news, well, as soon as possible. But like I said, in my case, not too early or not too late. You know, and so you could stay abreast of what's going on in the world, especially if the whole world could be on the brink of becoming subjected to experiencing that of World War III. Okay, God forbid. So you want to well, no, that's pretty much all on average, or whatever I say. You want to watch the news either every other day, if not daily or nightly, or hopefully daily or nightly, get at least one news broadcast in to stay abreast of what's going on in the world. Well, that's not exactly what I meant to say. This better way of putting it. To stay in tune of the current events of our day, you know. And anyway, though, getting back to the original topic of discussion, not that means stray from the point I'm trying to make, you know. So I was watching this one news segment of a headline story that was being gone about, delivered a report over the airwaves, and it was saying that a young black male student for a local vicinity neighborhood community, college prep or high school, had been arrested by some of such white police officers or white cops. And whereas his rival counterpart of one of his peers of a young white male student of the same sex, also being of an adolescent or teenager, you know, of a college prep or high school student, was not arrested after the both of them had engaged in a verbal argument, being which had taken a turn for the worse and had become a physical altercation, as in fist fight. And regardless of whatever the outcome could have possibly become or be, the thing is that when the white racist redneck dirty cops, possible and potential closet-klan and closet neo-Nazis, had arrived on the scene, they had arrested the young black male student, but they did not arrest the young white male student. And that is not just quite like so, but very much of a double standard of racial profiling. And I was like, from there, wow, that really sucks. Here we is. Here we is. Sorry for butchering the English language American dialect, but what I meant to say, correction. Here we are. No, not in the 21st century, because the 21st century is a done deal. We're now in the 22nd century, as you know. Yes. 22nd. Yeah, right. Yeah. 20th century, 1900 to 2000. Oh, it is the 20. I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry about it. Here it is. We are in the 21st century. And, you know, this has been going on for much too long, you know. I mean, I was like, what in the world? We are past the civil rights movement, and this nonsense is still happening. You know, this ridiculous nonsense of lousy, racist, redneck, dirty cops, be they have some of such non-white flunkies with them or not, like in the Derek Chauvin case or situation, where those non-white fellow police officers of his did nothing to prevent the black brother George Floyd's neck being kneeled upon by this one white racist redneck dirty cop. But then he was punished, you know, and unfortunately, or hopefully, he's in a real jail than for them to have transported him elsewhere, whereas he could be living like a king in a mansion, you know, and not be given the rightful punishment he would deserve, to be reprimanded for some of such a most extreme, horrific civil and human rights violation offense. But then the other white boy dirty cop should have gotten just as severe punishment, you know, for how he himself had likewise murdered or killed a black male among the non-white males. But all he got was a slap on the wrist, you know. And though he murdered or killed the other black male of another victim in a different way, but nevertheless, murder is still murder, you know. And he should have been given equal as well, the same severe amount of time as the other white racist redneck dirty cop. I'm making reference to what was this other cop's name? The one that shot a young black male in the back 16 times. With the other one, Derek Chauvin, kneeled on a much older black male's neck and killed him that way. Oh, what did it say? Yeah, cocksucker's name, is that what it say? I'm sorry about that. That was I'm gonna Google it. Okay. I mean, it's like coming out of work, so many of them. It's no wonder that after a while you forget the names as they popping up out of the wood with all these dirty cops with their non-white flunkies. That was let me see. That lousy racist redneck dirty cop that has shot, the Quan McDonald in the back. The Quan. The Quan. Oh, Jason Van Dyke. Yeah, that's his name. That's his name. But then getting back to the original topic of discussion with the slight injection was that cocksucker. He gets out in half the time, and the time that was the time that he was given wasn't even justice. And here it is, he getting out half that was 6 years was like a slap on the wrist, and he got out in 3. Whereas this other racist redneck dirty cop, he's supposed to have been given a lifetime in jail. I'm like, what in the world? I mean, like I said before, so I say again, murder is murder. But then getting back to some of such other, and whereas this is bad enough in its own right, it's still social justice. Social injustice, but social justice should have been served and upheld, is what I mean to say. Whereas, social, you know what I mean to say. Sorry about that. And it's about coming up in my bedtime. Hopefully, I could get my Z's regardless of this proverbial neighbor from damn hell to throw a monkey wrench in that program. For my own personal survival as well as, you know, attempting to sabotage my general health otherwise. But anyway, though, you know, and so the white cops had arrested this young black male and had given the young white male of his pair, being of a fellow student, nothing more than a slap on the wrist that they wave him up like, and where the young white male had the nerve to hold out his wrist, like if anything, he's trying to see if whether or not the white cops may still think or want to arrest him as they had arrested the black young male of his fellow student, but they did. You know, like he himself is, if anything, he was trying to make it seem like he's doing the right thing, like as if like 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 he wasn't the aggressor, whereas he was just as much as guilty to make the black young male seem like he the one that was the aggressor, the troublemaker, and where both of them was equally at fault, as I had witnessed the news report, the video of both of them fighting, and that's a shame that this kind of nonsense is still happening. Oh, sorry, not to make it seem like having a compulsive disorder as well as, you know, becoming subject to experiencing, subject to experiencing a speech impediment, a speech defect, Slider, Stallone, or Elmer Fudd, or stuttering, sleepy Joe Rip Van Winkle, our president-elect, or likewise, like I had become subject to experiencing that of a memory lapse, like one of our former ex, or rather late presidents of the USA, otherwise being Ronald Wilson Reagan. Then what was I about to say? See what I mean? But anyway, though, this is the world we're living in. Have we learned anything from the civil rights movement era? And here it is that the state of Georgia down south wants to attempt to take black persons' rights and privileges to cast a ballot for a politician away from us, for that particular region within the continental USA. And I don't think any black school is going to let that happen. Hopefully not. God forbid. Uh, to think that this young black male of a student had gotten arrested and his rival counterpart, one of his peers being a young white male student, otherwise didn't, whereas I would want to, be a young non-white male in these modern times, and because if I felt that the police is just as much the enemy, then why should the United States government and our military want me to consider the draft? You know, and if anything, I would much rather become a conscientious objector, as in draft dodger, or join the red army of our enemies to our own supposed so-called democratic republic or democracy, until the U.S. government and our U.S. military branches could do away with all this double standard racial profiling that is, spit in the face of our U.S. Constitution, citywide, statewide, and nationwide. Okay, all this double standard racial profiling. To think that back then I did not have to be drafted for U.S. military service. I had literally actually volunteered as the American patriot as I was back then. I don't know if I'm just as much now, but I'm still quite patriotic, but not as much as before, I don't think. When I hear how these racist redneck white boys, dirty cops, or possible potential closet-klan and closet neo-Nazis are, continuing on with tradition that stems from the pre-civil rights movement, you know, coming from their two different cliques of the Invisible Empire, the KKK, and the Aryan Nation of the neo-Nazis. That's partly the reason why I had become a card-carrying member to the BPP, the Black Panther Party, although I have yet to become active in it. On that, I'm going to, close shop shortly. I just thought to bring this here to you all's attention, because this was pressing on my mind, heart, soul, and spirit, etc. To think that we still have this kind of double standard racial profiling nonsense still taking place, still happening, in these modern times, you know. And then a state down south wants to attempt to, you know, revoke all the advancements of progress of the civil rights movement by attempting to take away black persons' votes. And if they were to attempt to do that, then what makes you think they wouldn't attempt to take away Hispanic people's votes, or Asian people's votes, or Indian people's votes, etc.? But anyway, though, on this last note of interest, I'd like to say to y'all, it's about the compulsive disorder. My sinuses are bothering me. I hope I feel much better than what I felt like last time. I do think I feel much better. But anyway, though, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now. While the blood is still running warm in your veins, I recognize and realize what he himself had done or did. Upon the cross of Calvary on Hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some sort of Roman soldiers up on the orders of their superiors, the religious Pharisees and Sadducees, back in the day in ancient times, as well as satiric Caesars and etc. But then, nevertheless, whereas our Lord and Savior Christ, the Messiah, deliverer, went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as for me. So that in us being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, fashion of society, lifestyle preferences, being of the old, young alike, of both two sexual genders, of males and females, not only representing, not only being associated with and representing the human species, but then nevertheless the global community within this post 911 era, whereas the Doomsday Clock is now at a couple of few minutes to midnight compared on to our phone period prior to recording midnight for this apocalyptic day and age are the same as I was saying in post 911 era of our new millennium of these rather biblically prophetic times. Whereas if any of us, whatever races and whatever walks of life, or old young like of both two sexual genders, were to profess some of such faith in him, from there we become and be blessed in one regard or another, more ways than one. First and foremost, with his salvation, being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly hope to enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's where to get that knowledge and wisdom of his saving grace, of his salvation, deliverance, be placed on our mind and in our hearts and souls. Whereas from there, we do not have to worry about what our final outcome would be once we were to make that transition for the great beyond of the hereafter, afterlife. And because our final destination will be elsewhere, and we will have that fire insurance, compared to those being the lost, unsaved, damned human souls of unbelievers and non-believers who will be tortured and terrorized by the devil and his demons while they will be burning in the lake of fire down hell forever, compared to how we as believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestants, will be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell, as citizens of the kingdom of heaven, in the company of like-minded believers in God, as Christians, aka Protestants, and in the presence of God and his angels otherwise. But God is not to be mocked. What you sow is what you shall reap. You have nobody or nothing to blame but yourself if you continue to reject so great a salvation up until your dying day, up until the time you breathe your last. If you go to damn hell, that's on you. I mean, it's not Burger King. You cannot, or BK, you cannot have your way. You cannot wait till you pass on over to the other side of this existence, then from there decide that you want to accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, because it don't work like that. It don't work that way. Unless you were to become subject to experiencing one of those beyond and back experience, then you're there to stay. Because the majority of most who go to damn hell are there. It's a done deal. No coming back this your way. Then you all take care and be safe, be blessed, not stressed. And I hope to holler at you all later. And until we meet again, we out. Peace.